We have been hearing about these ICE raids, and they are going to carry this out. This is one of the things Trump is campaigning on, and he's already said that they're going to round up 1 million. And it was also confirmed by the ICE director. Their plan is to get 1 million people out of here. And you can best believe it's going to happen. This is an election season. The presidential elections, they've already started the Democratic debates, and they're going to do this thing. They're not kidding. So these folks that are here illegally, they better get ready because their time is running out. So the plans are, ladies and gentlemen, is to round these people up in 10 major cities across the US, including New York, Los Angeles, Houston. So they are getting ready for these raids. Now, I did see some pushback, and this was back in June, from a lot of the sanctuary city, states, and counties across the country that said they were going to take measures to protect the immigrants. We shall see what happens. So, the immigrant communities are bracing for nationwide raids by U.S. Immigration and Custom Enforcement to begin on Sunday, planning protest and working with legal aid groups to provide advice to those affected. The raids are expected to target recently arrived migrant families who have already received final orders of removal from an immigration judge. And remember, the goal is 1 million. All right. So they are dead serious. So at the same time, the administration officials and the president himself have made clear that the raids are imminent. And several media outlets have reported the raids are scheduled to start Sunday. The raids are expected to focus on 10 major cities where the Department of Justice has sped up immigration cases for thousands of recent arrivals, including Los Angeles, New York, Chicago, and Houston. Immigration advocates in those cities have had several weeks to prepare. So, ladies and gentlemen, this thing is going down. They are dead serious. They are serious. So, these people that made their way over here, they're about to get thrown on planes and deported out. I mean, I was watching them unload a plane of people that were deported back. They don't care. They just throw them all on them planes, and once that plane, they throw them all out. You know, all of those people detained, they're going on planes. Um, we are concerned that family members might be packed up additionally in those raids, not just people with deportation orders, Gutton said. Mark Morgan, the acting head of ICE, defended the raids aimed at migrant families in an interview with NPR last month, saying the agency is only enforcing the law. My duty is not to look at the political optics or the will of the American people. That's for the politicians to decide, Morgan told NPR. John Burnell, Morgan is now acting head of Customs and Border Protection. Mark, let's see, let me just go down a little. Here we go. Trump has been threatening raids since last month. Trump said on Friday that the raids would begin fairly soon. And on Wednesday, the acting director of U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services, Ken Cuccinelli, um, told reporters at the White House that ICE raids are absolutely going to happen. So this is definitely already in the works. All right, there is some audio here that I'm going to play for you.
Immigrant communities are once again bracing for nationwide raids targeting migrant families. The raids are expected to begin Sunday. Here's acting U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services Director Ken Cuccinelli speaking to reporters at the White House yesterday.
They're absolutely going to happen. There's approximately 1 million people in this country with removal orders.
These raids by Immigration and Customs Enforcement are expected to target a much smaller group, probably a few thousand migrants in total. Joining us with the latest is NPR's Joel Rose here in the studio. Hey, Joel.
Hey, Ari.
President Trump first threatened these raids last month, before then calling them off. What do we know about the current plans?
Well, as before, these raids are expected to target migrant families who've recently arrived in the U.S., mostly from Central America, and who've already received their final orders of deportation. We think they'll be concentrated mainly in 10 cities, Los Angeles, New York, Chicago, and Houston among them. These are places where the Department of Justice has sped up immigration cases of many recent arrivals. We asked ICE for more details. They declined to comment on operations, but at the same time, administration officials are saying that these raids are imminent.
We're going to hear from Houston's mayor in just a moment, but why would they announce that these raids are coming? Doesn't that kind of undermine the mission?
Well, I put that question to former ICE Director John Sandweg. Here is what he had to say.
It's confusing for me why you would ever advertise an operation like this in advance of actually conducting it. I mean, that violates the cardinal rule, which is that you maintain the element of surprise, both to protect the safety of your officers and to ensure the effectiveness of the operation.
Sandweg thinks there is tension inside the Department of Homeland Security about that very question, because first, President Trump tweeted that these raids were coming, and also that this current operation has been leaked to the public. But Sandweg also thinks there are big concerns inside DHS about going after migrant families in the first place in this public way, because, Sandweg says if children are separated from their parents as a result of these raids, it could really be a black eye for ICE, and could potentially happen if these raids, if the parents are in the country illegally, but the children are U.S. citizens. And all of this is happening, of course, at a time when DHS is already taking a lot of heat for how it's treating migrants in its custody.
Yeah, within immigrant communities, how are people preparing for this?
Well, they've seen this coming for several weeks and have been planning in preparation. They think this operation might put entire communities at risk of deportation, not just these migrant families. I talked to Andrea Guten. She is the legal director at Houston Immigration Legal Services Collaborative.
We tell people to know their rights, to know that they don't have to tell anyone their immigration status. They don't have to open the door for anyone unless there is a signed warrant by a judge, which is different than an administrative warrant signed by ICE. We are concerned that family members might be picked up additionally in these raids, not just people with deportation orders.
There are also protests planned over the coming days. The ACLU has gone to court preemptively, hoping to get a judge to block the raids. The ACLU argues that these cases were moved through the court system so quickly that many of the migrants probably didn't even get notices to appear in court at all.
Why is the administration so focused on these families in particular?
It's true that in past administrations, these families would not have been a priority for deportation. Under President Obama, for example, ICE focused more on immigrants with criminal records, which the majority of these migrant families don't have. But this administration wants to discourage Central American migrants from coming north. We've seen huge numbers crossing the border this year, although they dipped a bit last month. And the administration really wants to show it is willing to crack down on these migrants if and when they lose their asylum cases.
NPR's Joel Rose, thanks a lot.
You're welcome.
And now, more from NPR. Live from NPR News in Washington, I'm Shay Stevens. The National Weather Service says the tropical storm Barry will make landfall in Louisiana as a hurricane Saturday. All right.
I just wanted to turn that off because that's a whole different story right there. But as you can hear, they are moving forward with these raids, and it is going to go down as of Sunday. But I do kind of agree. I don't think these things should be announced in advance. I think that's a security breach that they need to work on for real. But please tell me what you think, ladies and gentlemen. Please leave your comment and subscribe. Don't forget to hit on the notification bell, and I'll see you on the next video. Peace, family.